All right.
Hi, it's Mary Lynn of Hard at Work and the Change Maker Summit that's up and coming next week. And my guest today is Lisa Hilleren, and she is going to be talking about how we have to be conscious about our emotions, right? So anyway, I'm going to let Lisa tell you more about that. Don't ask me. Okay, Lisa, you go ahead.
Oh, thank you so much. Hello, everyone. I'm Lisa Hilleren. I'm the lead consultant at Purpose-Filled Solutions and Evolutions. And first of all, again, I'd like to thank you, Marilyn, for the opportunity to present today. I'm thrilled to be here. The topic I'm speaking on is how emotional intelligence, or EQ, is key to the journey of self-actualization. Not that we're ever fully self-actualized, it's always something we're growing and learning, but this is like the key to helping you progress along that continuum. For those of you who may have heard of the term, maybe somewhat familiar with it, but not really, really familiar, I'll start with a brief definition and a short overview of the four aspects of it. Oxford Languages defines EQ as the capacity to be aware of, control, and express one's emotions, and to handle interpersonal relationships judiciously and empathetically. In other words, it's about the ability to demonstrate emotional and behavioral regulation. I do not mean holding back. I don't mean tamping down your emotions. I mean being situationally aware and responding in a way that drives an outcome that's in your best, it's for the best outcome for you. So instead of being unaware and just behaving in a way that just drives an outcome you don't want, this is where you're going to be able to drive an outcome that you want, that's going to move you along that continuum of self-actualization. All right, so the four aspects of emotional intelligence are, and I'll start with the very first, and that is self-awareness. And this is the ability to step back from yourself, literally kind of step back outside of yourself and reflect upon your beliefs and behaviors. And all of these come about from your upbringing, your gender identification, your religion, your culture, many, many factors. All of these shape who we are, what we believe. Different regions believe different things, different customs, different religions. Understanding that will help you turn a light bulb on over your head of, oh my gosh, this is why I behave the way I behave. And by doing that, you can then change your behaviors and your beliefs. It gives you, it empowers you, it puts the power back in your own hands to determine what you believe, and it unleashes your potential exponentially. I cannot tell you how much it will unleash your potential. You'll be just astounded. So again, the things to consider, one of them I didn't mention is your personality style. So what's a personality style? You may have heard of DISC, or you may have heard of Wilson Learning. These personality style is your innate preference. My innate preference is to be a person who makes decisions based on gut instinct. I'm more of an advocate type of personality, or a teacher, or those type of an influencer, Pied Piper personality. Other personalities may be a driver. That's a person who feels they bring the most value to the world by getting things done. My husband is a driver. If I say, I need a doghouse, he's going to go out and build me a doghouse for our dogs. And look, honey, here's my value to the world. I made you that doghouse. Other people are analytical. They make business decisions on facts and figures, and they help build architectural designs, and they build bridges. They build bridges between things, whereas someone who's a more amiable personality is a people ambassador and builds bridges between people. We all have all aspects of these personality styles, but we always have a clear preference. So that is kind of what the core of our being is. And then you have all this other learned behaviors and beliefs. The thing is, we can step back from them and we can choose to change them. For example, when I was a child, I was very badly bullied. Back then, obesity was not the epidemic that it is today. And I was very much bullied as being a person of size. So that really drove my feelings of self-worth down for many, many years. And it made me less confident to get in any kind of conflictual situations because my brain went to a place of feeling like it was being bullied. Once I learned self-awareness, I learned that that was a survival tactic, but it was not serving me well at all. And so I had to learn, and I'll talk a little bit more later about ways you can reset your belief systems, how you can train your brain, and you can literally change your neural pathways in your brain. Okay. So what self-awareness does, again, is it lets you step back, look at yourself, and reflect on your beliefs and how they drive your behaviors, and then kind of determine, how are they serving you? Are they helping you? Are they hindering you? What can you do different to drive? What are your goals? And if I change this behavior, this is going to get me over here. Once you learn self-awareness, and at that point you're kind of consciously not competent, and it's not a comfortable place to be in, but it's such a like a light bulb moment to feel like you understand what drives you and that you are really in the driver's seat of your life. So the next stage is self-management. Now this is the secret sauce of EQ. You need all the ingredients, but this is what transforms everything. I mean, everything. Once you become self-aware, you can choose your responses and behaviors. And by doing this, by choosing to do a different behavior, you're causing a ripple. So we all grow up in relationships. We all have relationships. I'm married, and I'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. But in these relationships, a lot of times we're all about changing the other person. You have to change your own behavior. But by changing your own behavior, then they are forced to respond differently to you than they did before. So, for example, my husband and I, we got married very young. I was 20, he was 23. I will tell you unequivocally, if I had not learned emotional intelligence, we would not be married today. Instead, we've been married 40 years, and we're very happy. And I credit it all to emotional intelligence. And it was by me starting by changing my behavior and saying things like, I'm sorry, I not apologizing when it wasn't my fault, but when it was, taking accountability, saying I was wrong and fixing it. And heck, a couple years later, all of a sudden, one day, the person that would never take accountability, who I'm married to, said, you know what? I was wrong and I'm sorry. He was mirroring the learned behavior that I had taught myself. And now we routinely tell each other we're sorry when we're wrong. We also practice a lot of gratitude. Like when I cook dinner, he tells me thank you for dinner. If he takes out the garbage, I tell him thank you for taking out the garbage. Very simple things, but it builds rapport and respect and a feeling of you you respect that person, you love that person, and you're grateful that they're in your life, even for the most mundane things that they do. So by being self-managed, you're not only changing your behavior and progressing yourself towards your journey of self-actualization, but you're actually making a better place in the world. You're making it a better place for other people because they will, believe it or not, follow your lead. Okay. For example, I gave you one about my husband. Another one is for how you choose to run your own day. Say you're going to work and you get cut off in traffic. Most people get very upset. They take it very personally. Then they go stomping into work and they work the whole day and they're mad. And then at the end of the day, they say they're mad because someone cut them off in traffic. But meanwhile, you've ruined your own day. You've probably ruined everybody else's day. What if instead you got cut off in traffic and you stopped and said to yourself, maybe that person's on the way to the hospital where their wife is going to deliver a baby? It resets how you think. You stop thinking that that person is deliberately cutting you off. And then you can choose to say, you know what? I'm just going to let that go. It's not worth ruining my day over. And by doing so, by catching yourself in that moment, you can have a great day instead of a really crappy day. Okay. So to me, this is that secret sauce. It's like I am truly in command of my destiny. Yes, there are things that are outside of our command. People get sick, things happen, accidents happen. But for the percentage of control that we truly have in our lives, this puts you in the driver's seat for it. The next aspect is social awareness. And this is very similar to self-awareness. This is where you are able to step back from other people and truly objectively view them as they are. Not only do you have belief systems and different personality styles, you can see that other people too. Not everybody is built the same way. As we grow up, we all think, hey, we think the same way. We have the same goals, and that's not the case. Everybody brings something different to the table, and that's what makes diversity so great and unique, because if you harness that synergy, you get great things out of it. And social awareness allows you to do that. If I understand what you bring to the table, I can show you respect by leveraging that, by asking you questions, by showing you curiosity about your differences and putting them, say, hey, this could help me do X. So by learning social awareness, you're being able to see why people are coming to the table the way they are. You're also able to disconnect your own hot buttons. Once I knew how my husband came to the table, how he showed up every day, he's a driver, he would do things, and a driver can come across, guess what? Sometimes as a bully. And so for me, when I was younger in our marriage, I didn't really know how to deal with that. But later in marriage, I realized how that was just the way he came across. And I was able to step back from that and not shirk away from that and tamp down my emotions, and actually talk to him and say, when this happens, I feel this. And over time, the times I felt he was pressing my hot buttons, I was able to stop, assess, and say, he's just being a driver. It's not something he's personally trying to make me feel bad about. And you're able to disconnect your hot buttons in the moment so that you can continue to respond in a good way. Okay, so that one's huge as well. And that's what social management is. Social management is respecting people where they come from, responding in a way that resonates with them. And that's also another thing. That's what drove my career. I was in my career, I did not have my bachelor's degree or master's degree until I was in my 50s. I just got my master's at 60. But because of emotional intelligence and being able to resonate with people in a way that, worked for them, I knew certain people. I had a boss who was very logical. There was no way I tried to convince him to go along with one of my business decisions just based on gut instinct. I would prepare facts and figures and lay it out for him. And that was what would get him to go along with it. And he was the one that promoted me up through to senior management at a time I did not have a degree. I also didn't have a degree when I was younger because I felt very lack of worth or lack of confidence. Emotional intelligence gave me huge boost in confidence and belief in myself and liking myself, which empowered me to go back to school and get those degrees and believe that I could do it. Many people say there's a fifth element, empathy. To me, empathy weaves all through four elements. And you have to have as much empathy, not sympathy or self-pity, empathy for yourself as you show to others. This is crucial. And one of the things that I want to do is talk to you in just a minute about things that you can do to show yourself empathy. But before I do, I'd like to share just a little bit, and we have before, about why I'm so passionate about it. is that learning it and adopting it completely changed my life. Again, I would not be married today. I would not have my degrees, any of that stuff. What makes me even more passionate about it is that I like to help people jumpstart their journey. I spent a lot of time when I first started learning at my 30s, there was mostly academic information about it. So you had a lot of Daniel Goleman, who's the father of it. Brilliant, brilliant. When you read the books, it's very high academically. And I had to go and read all these academic or 50,000 foot level books. And I had to sit back and synthesize them down to 5,000 feet for myself and put these puzzle pieces together. And it took me a lot longer to get where I wanted to be than I felt I would like to be able to shorten the window of the educational piece for people and then get them right into practice and things that will show them real results in a short time. So that's where my passion derives from, because I saw what a difference it made in my life, what it can do for other people. And so what I wanted to kind of share today was a few things too of how to jumpstart doing that for yourself. Okay. All right, so my first actionable tip of what you can do is practice positivity. Practice positivity. This is a self-management skill. And what I mean by that is practice treating yourself with care and empathy. How do you do that? Number one, first and foremost, is stop your negative self-talk. If you are a person that engages in negative self-talk, step back from yourself and reflect. How is that doing for your sense of self-worth? What's it doing for you? How is it making you feel about yourself? I was going to one of my college's classes. I had an exam and I was driving there and I took a wrong turn that I was just had my mind in another place and suddenly realized I'm on the wrong road and lost 15 minutes. And I'm a person that always wants to be on time. And immediately I started to go, oh, what a stupid, stupid thing to do. And then I caught myself and said, no, we're not going to talk bad. You made a mistake. You planned for plenty of time. Give yourself grace so that you're not getting there and all so wound up that you fail your exam. And I caught myself. So if you catch yourself, maybe you had a parent or someone that raised you, and unfortunately they said you were a brat, or you said they called you something that was not a nicest term. And so you grew up believing it because it was a parent or someone that you looked up to and respected, and that helped shape your belief. You can look back and say, I'm not. I'm an amazing person. There's only one of me in the world. There only ever be one of me in the world. And I am worthy just from the fact I draw breath on this planet. And I have so many gifts and so many things to bring to the world. And over time, you can teach yourself to believe that by being kind and empathetic. And when you catch yourself saying negative self-talk, catch yourself and reset that mindset. So practice positivity. Also by acknowledging, which is not a comfortable place to be in, my flaws. That's a big thing as well. And saying, how do I learn from them? Which ones do I want to get better at? And which can I accept? One for me is math. I do not like math. I'm very good at math in terms of my finances. But in terms of calculus and the other stuff, don't know it, don't care because it's not impacting me. But when I was younger, growing up, feeling that I wasn't good at those things because I had a father who was very logical was something that made me feel bad about myself. Now I'm like, okay, you don't feel bad about it, but is it making a difference in your life? No. So who cares? And teaching yourself where to let go of beliefs or things that you feel you should be good at. But even if you were, it wouldn't make any difference in what's important, really important to you in your life. There's a thing that by the age of 15, if no one tells you, you're going to choose whether you see the world through the eyes of a victor or the eyes of a victim. And a victor is one who sees obstacles as stepping stones, where a victim sees them as stumbling blocks. So when you find you're doing that, or sending accountability, blaming the world for stuff, choose to step back and say, do I want to be a victor or do I want to be a victim? That's a huge way to practice positivity. And being a victor does not mean you're being, happy all the time. You have to be a realist at times, but it will get you to a place of being more positive and having a more positive outlook on life. Okay. To me, in wrapping up this being positive, practicing positivity means being your own best advocate. I am my own best advocate. The next tool I would share with you is assume best intent. So when someone disagrees with me or angrily approaches me, assuming best intent on their part, it keeps me from thinking they're deliberately trying to push my hot buttons. So if I assume that they're coming to me and they're trying to get to a goal, they're not trying to stomp me down, helps me disengage those hot buttons. It also empowers me to respond with curiosity and empathy rather than defensiveness. I'm able to step back from the situation, take things less personally, which helps diffuse my emotions. Doing so helps me keep in mind that just because we have differing beliefs doesn't make me wrong and you right, or vice versa. It just means we're different and we need to respect that and find ways to respectfully collaborate. So basically, think about a cloud. You may be standing here, and the way you look at it, it looks like a footprint. I may be standing here, and the way I look at it, it looks like an exclamation point. Neither is right and neither is wrong. We're just different. And so when you think of that coming into it and assume best intent, they may come and they may be gruff and whatever, but I assume they're trying to get something done. They're not out to deliberately hurt me. I can say, hey, what's going on? Help me understand what's happening here. That keeps me from being defensive. It brings down their emotions. Even saying, wow, something's really upsetting you. Tell me about it. And I find that diffuses it, and we're able to collaborate and get to a empowering place for both of us. The third one I would share with you is respond, don't react. And this was huge for me. I was very, very reactionary. That's part of my personality style. Anything happened, I'd catastrophize it. So what I did is I went around everywhere I could, on the dash of my car, on my window in the bathroom, my mirror in the bathroom, all different places. I taped a little thing, almost like a fortune cookie thing, that said, respond, don't react, respond, don't react. So it was vital for me. I did this because it was vital for me to circumvent that reactionary, to be able to catch myself and have triggers to catch myself to respond. So for me, what respond, don't react is, it means in any given situation or event, instead of immediately having a reaction, you choose to step back from the situation, reflect on it, and say, how do I want this to end? And then behave accordingly. What do I want to come of this? If I react this way, is this going to blow up my relationship and cause a lot of hard feelings? So respond, don't react gives you the ability to step back, reflect, choose the right option for you to move yourself where you want to be. Okay. So again, that would be how I respond to the car that cuts me off. I'm going to respond and say, hey, I'm going to let that go. I'm not going to let it ruin my day. Or the same when I caught myself with negative self-talk. I was going to respond in a way that was empathetic to myself instead of berating myself. And I was able to get to the test and ace that test. The last one is event plus response equals outcome. So many of us blame the events in our life for making us angry or making us cry or making us hurt. Event plus response equals outcome reminds us that we have a say in things. We always have a say in things. And this saying comes courtesy of Jack Canfield of Chicken Soup for the Soul books. And what it means is, okay, so this happened. How am I going to choose to respond to it? And that's going to equal my outcome. This is crucial because how am I going to get myself to be where I want to be self-actualized? That's how I'm going to respond. I'm going to make the right choice when something happens, even though I might feel initially defensive. I'm going to stop, reflect, and then choose a response that drives an outcome in the direction, if it doesn't exactly get to the outcome, but drives it in the right direction. So those are 4 tips on this one. What I would say too is this doesn't mean tamp down your emotions. We are emotional beings. We always have emotional responses. What it means is they can be separate responses. One can be someone comes to me, something happens, I respond in a way that drives an outcome, but I may still be upset about it or may feel a way that I need to honor my emotions, always honor them. But I may just go in my bedroom and just sit there and just make a face for a while or feel a certain way. Or at work, I've been known to go in the ladies' room and just sit in a stall and close the door so I don't go off. So honor those emotions. It doesn't mean the emotions are going away. Okay. So again, these are the key tools that help me progress through through emotional intelligence. These are what I took and I personally boiled down from all of that academia and those points, and I found gave me the greatest leverage and really jump started my learning. So I hope that you found them helpful, and I would love to hear from you. If you have any questions or comments, you can reach me either at Purposeful, the website for Purpose-Filled Solutions and Evolutions, or through Lisa Hilleren, LLC at gmail.com. I thank you so much for this opportunity to be here again today, and thank you, Mary Lynn.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. And Lisa's contact information will be below this video. So if she said it too fast, she'll be able to get it. Anyway, thank you so much, Lisa, for joining me
Thank
today.
you.
Thank you, and have a wonderful
Bye-bye.
day. Okay,
You too.
bye-bye.
Bye.